Well, hey everyone, thanks for tuning back in to our next installment of MPMX in Focus. Today we're talking about AI, especially how AI is impacting the field of process mining, process analytics, process intelligence, everything that is in the field that we're in. And I'm looking forward to spending these next just about 30 minutes with you talking about this topic. If you have any questions, put them in the comment and I will get my guest, Josua, to answer them for you. Speaking of Josua, I'll bring him on the stage. He'll be referring about AI. Josua, welcome to MPMX in Focus.
Hi, welcome, Boris. Yeah, so my name is Josua. I'm a principal pre-sales and solution architect for MPMX and a little bit over 7 years now working with MPMX in the field of process mining and having also a background of AI back from university and also with our journey on improving our process mining solutions. So happy to be here and looking forward to our conversation today.
All right, it's great to have you. Thanks very much. So obviously everybody's talking about AI, right? So we might even be a little late to the party here, but we didn't want to, just jump on the Gen AI train and see how we could get some ChatGPT use cases adapted to what we're talking about, just to hang on to the hype. So it would be really interesting to learn, Josua. So what is AI in the context of process mining, process excellence, process intelligence? What makes it special? What are the chances? What are the things that we can do with AI in our field?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff we can actually do. And I would say, going back to one of the quotes from Henry Ford, I guess, if you ask people what they want, they say they want faster horses, but he gave them the car. And it's a little bit the same with AI. So on the one hand side, we have the faster horses, so we can basically improve, accelerate, enhance everything we are already doing today. So ranging from data transformation support, AI-generated SQL statements, for example, or helping the end users actually define new KPIs or giving them some context information on the one hand side. So just supporting in the same kind of today's work. And on the other hand, we have a bigger vision where it's the car. So we have a self-optimizing, a proactive process optimization vision, which we want to talk about today as well, where we have much more capabilities. And this will actually disrupt the way we work within a company in the future.
All right, that sounds pretty interesting. So, just to tie it into the field that we are looking at, going into organizations, looking at their data, deriving process intelligence from what we actually see there. So, what's the connection between what you've just mentioned, like this hyper intelligent machine, and the processes, the process mining, that what we are doing today?
Yeah. So process mining is the technology basically to combine all the data that we already have in our ERP systems, for example, in other systems as well. So with the technology of process mining, we are able to lay the foundation to actually use AI in a beneficial way. Because for AI, it's a bit too complex to just feed in all the data a company has unstructured. Especially if you think about an SAP system where you have about 30,000 tables, it's a lot of data and it's not that well connected. And when you apply process mining to that data, you get all these different ways of looking at the different end-to-end processes of a business. You create these connections between these different types of objects that a business have. So you also can get rid of that constraint of having to look at only one process. You define the processes in a way that it's object-centric. So that means we can later on combine different objects over multiple processes to get a real end-to-end digital twin of the company, of all the business processes. And this helps, or is the foundation then for the AI models to generate a value on top of these data, because then you have it well prepared. We have the connections, we have all the process mining features that are already in place to enhance the data. And then we can use AI to generate more value.
Okay, so it's kind of, I think we spoke about this to Jan in an earlier installment. It was OCPM, object-centric process mining, the integration of all of these different processes in an organization or in process mining to create like a true to life picture of how things are interconnected and creating interactions and then creating value by being able to look at these interactions. And then I think a couple of weeks ago we spoke to Konstantin about the DTO, digital twin of an organization, which is then integrating all of these things, but connecting it to actually acting on what you can see there. And now you're taking this a step further, saying, all right, so we'll be able to use all of this technology to enable AI within an organization. So there are two things that we should be talking about today. One is using what we do as an enabling technology for AI within an organization, and then the other side is how we can use AI within this field to actually generate value. You hinted at it a little bit in the beginning, talking about how you can use AI to generate code to amplify the way that implementation is accelerated within these projects, or have it as like an assistant helping you to find the right KPIs or use better KPIs, derive better KPIs from the actual context. All right, so let's dive a little bit deeper into what you've just mentioned, right? So you hinted at how an organization can become self-optimized. Could you explain a little bit more what that's supposed to mean? And I'll be interested to learn how this is supposed to be coming to pass, because if I'm looking at organizations today, I think we're a little bit off.
Yes, for sure. So maybe we can use the picture I've brought with me as well.
Yeah, it should be on screen now.
So if we talk about a self-optimizing process mining AI vision, it looks a little bit like this. So what we basically have already is down below, we have the enterprise system, the source systems where our data lies in currently, could be a data lake as well. And we use process mining to analyze the data and to provide the users with the analysis of the data to already optimize their processes. We just talked about using OCPM to create a digital process twin, because this is the basis to actually be able to optimize processes in a holistic way. Because only if we have the actual digital twin of the organization where we have the connections between all different processes, we can also then use our optimization module, which will hardly be driven by AI and some statistical or mathematical algorithms, to use that digital twin to tweak parameters, to build hypotheses and to change parameters and simulate and see if we predict the new processes with different variables, how this will actually improve the process. So if we can cut costs, if we are faster, if we can increase the customer satisfaction, etc. And to do that, to build that optimizer, we first need the digital process twin based on OCPM to have the data foundation to build that. So the optimizer is one of the big things that is currently missing today to a certain extent. This will be one of the major things that will be developed in the near future. And so, of course, what you actually need then is you need a good interface to work with. So what we currently see is that a lot of process mining solutions are rather expert tools. You still need some knowledge in scripting, in building queries to access the data, to find the results. And with the rise of all these great LLMs, this hurdle, this restriction will fall pretty soon and will increase the new interface of an actual conversational UI to make it easier to access all these analysis via natural language. And Gen AI can also help in that perspective, that not only it builds the conversational interface for the users, it can also be the orchestrator in the middle together with the optimizer. Because what we can do is we can link or give the LLMs the possibilities that they can access different APIs, for example, so they can use functions in other tools, for example, our process mining solution or the optimization module. So you can chat with that Gen AI bot And the Gen AI bot can then translate your natural language question, your business problem, into different hypotheses, and then use these hypotheses and trigger the simulation module to optimize and say, okay, I need to cut down costs in that process. And then it can be translated, it can be used in the simulation engine to tweak the parameters and to simulate a digital twin with the new variables to see how that will actually improve the process.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let me try to understand the graphic a little better and what you've just said. So this is a picture of the future, right?
Yes.
So this says AI will tie into a couple of different processes, right? So or different parts of this this application or the system that you've illustrated here. And Gen AI, or like the AI component, and the what you've called process mining now, are kind of like the centerpieces here, right? So you have the source systems, they feed data into process mining, and using process mining to create the digital process twin in combination with the source systems creates like the operational data layer. So this tells you what's actually happening within the organization on a systems level. Then you have Gen AI, which combines the information coming from the source systems and from process mining with domain knowledge from subject matter experts within the organization, which creates like a language model that knows what's happening on an operational level, and then also uses the domain knowledge to understand what might actually need to happen, or what could be variants, or what would be like best practices and all of these things, right? So now you have a system that understands how things are working and how things are supposed to be working within the organization. And then you have the conversational UI, is what you call it, is actually the interface that the people are, how they tie into, how they operate this very complex system. So they can just ask questions, or they could tell the system to pull up some visualizations, some data analytics to help them understand what's happening, and also get suggestion on what's supposed to be happening within an organization. And then to actually create the ultimate value in this, you would have to have some sort of brain, what you call the optimizer, that actually takes the information of what's happening, the information of what should be happening, in combination with any contextual data, to actually make the system do what it should be doing. Is that kind of like how you could break it down?
Yeah, exactly. So the actual mind of that will be the combination of the Gen AI module with the mathematical optimization and the process mining data or analysis. And if you combine all that, you will be able to steer your processes in a much better way than today, and to optimize into different directions.
Okay, gotcha. So looking at this picture and all of these components, I mean, we know that process mining obviously is there, right? So we have that in a way. Gen AI is currently making progress on an insane level. So how far with today's tools could we actually build something like this, and which parts are missing, and how far along into the future are they?
So you're absolutely right. We have the tools for quite some of these modules. Some are still missing, or just at the beginning of the development stage. I would say it's still a matter of a few years, probably 2 to 3 years. I mean, always be careful of predictions in the field of AI. We saw how quickly OpenAI grew. But yeah, so until it's an enterprise production ready system that really generates a huge benefit, it will still take some time. But nevertheless, we do have some capabilities already today and can already leverage them to generate more value than previously. And yeah, so we talk basically, or I talk basically about the lower level where the source data is integrated.
Mm-hmm.
So the enterprise systems, digital process twin, process mining solution, these are all there. Also, the conversational UI is beginning to accelerate with all the chatbots we currently see. What will come into place this year, starting this year, will be the domain knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a kind of, it's definitely different in the sense of that it's unstructured data. So that's all the knowledge that you have in process BPMN diagrams that you have in certain documents, process documentation or business documentations. You have the emails going back and forth. You have wikis, you have encyclopedias, etc. So you have a lot of unstructured data, and we see that the technology improves there quite fast as well, and will start making more use of that unstructured data, because this will actually help a lot with providing actual value, because a lot of information is still missing in the actual source system. So there's a lot of information missing in the SAP that is somewhere around the systems. And when we integrate that data to the structured data, we'll get the full picture of how the actual process was executed in reality. And that will also help with finding the real inefficiencies and the real reasons for it, and then also the possibility, of course, to optimize them to get rid of these frictions in the process.
All right.
And this will
So,
start, this year and will progress, I guess, next year, and then we'll see the final picture in the future. Then that it's self-optimizing.
okay, so this is the RAG stuff everybody's talking about in a way, right? So
Yeah.
having digitizing domain knowledge, digitizing what's in I think most of the people are saying what's in the heads of the people within an organization. I think with the demographic changes that we're seeing in in our organizations, and also in society, makes this absolutely necessary, right? And it also alleviates one of these problems that many organizations have, is like finding more people and getting them trained before some of the older generations are actually leaving their jobs. So this is really interesting. So my question would be, so if this is still like a couple of years in the future, right? You've already said it. We've got a couple of these capabilities today, and I think what might be interesting for, or will be interesting for our audience as well, is, so what can we actually do with all of this tech today already? So looking at Gen AI, looking at process mining solutions, looking at what's available in the market, looking about developments in retrieval and so on. What are the capabilities and the use cases that you see in the field today using artificial intelligence?
Yeah. So AI can already help us along the whole data to action and value generation chain. So if we look at the first step, extracting the data, transforming the data, we have several possibilities. For example, we can use AI to build our queries to actually extract the data, to transform the data. So we'll get support in transforming the data, also with, for example, filling missing data. So if you have tables and some of the fields are not filled correctly, AI can help with making suggestions how to fill up the data, or also, especially with the huge improvements in text evaluation, you can also use it to get better master data. So we often see there are typos in the data and stuff. And so AI can also support fixing these issues as well, making it easier to clean the data, to transform it, so that we can actually use it then within our process mining solution. It can also help, of course, providing the relevant context, for example. So I can use it and querying, like, if I want to create a new event, create purchase order, and I have no knowledge about the source system, I can just use the documentation, use a chatbot that's trained on the data or has access to the data, and I can use the chatbot to define the actual queries, how I can generate that event based on the documentation and context information that's available to that LLM. So that really helps all the developers in creating the data foundation. But then going a step further, if we actually build the applications with the visualizations, AI can also support choosing the right visualization for the correct analysis. So choosing which chart type, for example, to use, helping with building the measure formula. So how can I define my KPI, especially when we have that bridge between the business user and the developer, we can also provide more context using these LLMs, for example, giving context to certain business questions. So if I talk about merit buying in a purchase to pay process, not everyone will probably know what merit buying is, but with the help of an AI chatbot, I can be quickly I can quickly get that information, what it is and where to look for in that specific set of data, how to generate queries for it, and get support on that side to really be able to build valuable applications. And then
So,
last step, would be then to interpret the data. So of course, especially if we train an LLM, not only have a general trained LLM, but also use some company data to fine tune it, or use RAG to access company data. We can also help with interpreting the data. So especially if we have a lot of text values in all the tables, AI can also help finding patterns and connections in the data, which we probably won't see or need way more time to find in the data than the AI model can.
all right. So this is most of these kind of like co-pilot use cases, I think, with regards to development, right? I think we've mentioned this a couple of times now, is you can use it to generate code, right? But what you said is quite interesting. It's like you can like bridge or build a bridge between the development and in the backend and the front end by increasing the available context when you're looking at specific data. Could you elaborate on that a little bit? Because I'd be interested in seeing where the how this is actually valuable to the business user, and how the what kind of like support comes in from the backend to really interpret the information that is available.
Yeah. So on the one hand side, for the business user, we don't need the same amount of knowledge about the actual data structures, about the information that is inside a data model. So the AI can just help to translate my business question, which I put in natural language, to find the correct data within my application. So if I'll have, let's talk about a purchase to pay example again. If I have an SAP source system and I have 30 tables inside my application with a lot of fields, and I just want to ask the question, how many invoices are overdue? The AI model can just use the meta information of the model to find the relevant KPIs and dimensions, and to provide me with an analysis, or to show me where to look at to actually answer the question. So that's one of the possibilities where AI can definitely help a business user to not have the same technical knowledge as the process owner or technical expert for the process.
All right, and it also makes the development process easier because you don't have to actually predict all of the business requirements. You just need to create the data layer, enrich it with metadata, maybe connected to a model, and then or connected to a model, and then have the business user just interact with the model through a conversational layer, and then the system will create all of the data prep, and also you set the visualization components according to the query that was sent.
Yeah. So I can definitely
cool.
build very quickly a new dashboard, for example, with the charts that actually answer my questions.
That's really nice. And then you said that, so I understand this. So this is, we come from very technical. Now this is like kind of the interface between technical and business. And then you mentioned a use case in the business part as well, connected to having a, I don't know, I understood the word glossary, but you didn't say it, about like business cases, specific terms like maverick buying. Could you elaborate a little bit on this and describe how this actually turns into value for the end user?
Yes. So if you have a good LLM that is trained on let's say business data, business questions, you more or less have your own management consultant by hand. So normally, you often use external consultants that have a lot of knowledge within a specific process to support you with an optimization project. And with the current chatbots, you can reduce that need to a certain extent. Not saying that you can replace it, but you definitely have way more help now to understand all the context information you're operating in. as a business user now. So you can use the chatbot to brainstorm, to ask questions about the understanding of the data, about the certain business questions, get some more elaborations from the model. I talked about maverick buying, so you can just ask, for example, what is maverick buying? You get a definition, and then how can I overcome maverick buying? What are typical steps to resolve such issues? And then you get some improvement suggestions from the model, and then you can iteratively work with that to further enhance your own knowledge and to make sure you actually find the right spots to reduce these frictions.
Would these suggestions then be connected to the actual data that you're looking at, not just?
Yeah, we can definitely connect it already to the data we are using in the analysis. So we can, or the model can then, generate queries to ask or to answer that based on the actual data we have here.
All right. So we're coming to the end of the half hour that we have. I don't see any questions in the chat. So one last question from my side, Josa. How would you sum up where AI is currently in our field, and what the possibilities, the chances, but also the obstacles currently are?
I would say we are still at the very beginning. Probably process mining is a bit, or it's more complicated, more complex than a lot of use cases we see in the media on LinkedIn, where the hype is quite big. And to actually build a self-optimizing system that looks at all your business processes within a company, it's a bit more complex, and we still need some time to figure out all the different parts that are necessary for it. But nevertheless, there is a huge potential, and I'm pretty sure we'll be able to unlock that potential in the future and be able to really improve the business processes there. So currently I would say we are building faster horses, to come back to that quote. So we get faster horses now, and hopefully we'll get the car in the next year or two.
All right, perfect. That's a perfect way of closing this off. So if any one of you wants to reach out to Joshua and have a deeper chat about these, please don't hesitate. You find his details directly here in the LinkedIn event, or come to our website mpmx.com and reach out to us. Joshua, thanks very much for taking the time and this very, very interesting explanation of AI within the field of process mining and process analytics.
Thank you for inviting me.
Happy to. Everyone else, have a great day, and I'm looking forward to seeing you here again soon. Take care.